I'm going to build on like what we have learned and then try to do some applications and stuff like that. Is that
All
okay
right.
with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so first, we will start from the top. Okay, so okay, so when we talk about the self, right? Um, when we talk about the self, we have a few things that we have to understand. Yeah. So starting with the two under you remember Lewis?
Yes, Lewis and Rogers, Carl Rogers.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with Lewis first. Yeah. So
Okay.
um.
So Lewis states that separated the self into two parts. So there's existential self and categorical self. And
Mhm.
existential self is when someone is aware that they have an existence that is separate from others and that they are unique in their own way. So like they're aware like not everyone else is like them, and they are not like everybody else.
Yeah.
And categorical self is when someone is aware that um, they can be seen by others by means of by means of different categories. So, for example, like they could be categorized into um, groups like age, gender,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
sex.
Very good. Okay. And Lewis, he believes that existential self begins to develop when.
Um, Around 2 months old.
Okay, so it begins to develop before the age of 6 months. Yeah. So, like you said, around 2 months would be like under that category, and it comes in reaction to and it comes about in reaction to the child's interactions with their world. Yeah. So,
Mm,
for example, what this means, right, is a child learns about other people's reactions, or uh, an adult smiles when they smile, and what objects do when they are touched. So you see how like children interact with the world. It's completely different from us, right? So for
mm,
example, like um I have seen a child play with a truck before. Yeah, so like an infant compared to instead of like a child, right? So when you
mm,
look at an infant play with like a truck, we think that the truck should be the wheels on the floor, right? But sometimes you can see them playing with the truck upside down because they are learning like what the wheels do and everything, so they want to touch the wheels instead of like a certain way that we think should be the right way.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's very different from how we interact with the world because they are still learning, and they're still basically developing this existential self, right? So how about the categorical self?
Um,
So
like
tell me, like the progress of it from early childhood and then teenager, and then maybe give me some examples. Try to do that.
okay, so basically, like when so categorical self is like when you are like categorized into certain like groups, right? So eventually you will start to see yourselves in the world in by like referring to those categories.
Mm-hmm.
So the categorical self can actually change someone's change like this can oh wait uh it's like it so basically the view of the categorical self, which is the view of themselves technically, changes as um they develop, and they like changes as their internal values
Mm-hmm.
change
Mm-hmm.
and as they develop over time, like into like from from a toddler to a child to a teenager to adolescence. So um the other factors that could change how someone sees themselves is like, you know, outside, you know, outside influences. Like, let's say your parents, okay, this is a like a negative one, but like, let's say your parents put you in a category that's like, oh, you're stupid, like that, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you're stupid. So the child will grow up thinking that it's in the category of stupid. So this goes back to like mindset and everything, and it will affect their concept of their self. It's like they will think that, oh, because I am categorized into like 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 stupid, the group stupid, then I am stupid, like that, and this can affect their self esteem and eventually their like development over time.
Yep. Okay. Very good. Okay. And also to generalize it, right?
Mm.
To generalize it, we will look at how children will place themselves in categories in early childhood and teenager. Yeah. So, for
Mm.
example, in early childhood, the categories children will place themselves in, they are very fixed. Yeah, so it's very fixed categories, but it will become more flexible as they grow up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the by the time the child is a teenager, they're able to categorize different categories such as internal psychological traits, how other people see them, and compare and evaluate how they are with others. Yeah. So,
Mm.
for example, they might think that they are intelligent compared to someone, but short compared to someone else. So you
Mm.
see that the way that they categorize becomes more complex instead of just a fixed category. They learn to compare themselves and interact like with the world in that sense. Yeah.
Okay, so it's mostly of like comparison with like yourself and like somebody else, or
Um,
could it be like between
so
like
yeah,
yours.
that is one of the ways that they would categorize themselves. Other than that, it would be like internal psychological traits, but then
Mm.
yeah, how other people see them and compare and evaluate how they are with others. Yeah, so these are the three general categories that Lewis argues
Mm.
for self concept.
Okay.
Okay, right. So when we are talking about self concept, right, what does Lewis believe about self concept?
So self concept is basically how how we see ourselves based on how others see us, and that also influences like how like our own beliefs are like. And so basically,
Yep. So
I think
those
he
are
did
the
a.
sorry. So those are the things that we have talked about, right? But to to sum it up, why did Rogers talk about self concept? It's because he argues that self concept is a vital aspect for a person to understand who they are. Yeah.
Mm.
So because of this, he proposed the development of self concept having two aspects, which is the existential self and the categorical self. So this, when we are looking at studies, we look at the background. Why did someone do this? Then the aims, what is this study for, and stuff like that. So this is
Mm.
basically the background to why he developed these two aspects and for
Mm.
us to study.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And the next one that we are going to look at is Rogers. Okay, so
So
when
basically,
we,
oh,
yeah,
yep.
no, it's okay. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, you continue.
Okay, so basically, um, uh, Carl Rogers, he split self concept into three parts. So self image, self esteem, and ideal self. So self-image is how we see ourselves, or how we would want to see ourselves. Like, oh, no, how we see, yeah, how we see ourselves. So this might not actually reflect our reality. It could often stem from either a good self-esteem, because if you have a good self-esteem, you'll have a good self-image. Whereas if you have a bad self-esteem, you'll have a quite like a bad self-image. So um, you know, this can self-image is basically like maybe like how we view our traits, maybe like our um, our roles in society, and maybe about our physical characteristics too. So um, self-esteem is how we value ourselves. Um, so like I said like earlier, like if you have a high self-esteem, you'll have a high self-image. Therefore, you will be more confident, and you'll feel um, you'll just you have a confidence in your ability to do what you want to do. Whereas like the opposite is when you have bad self-esteem. So usually people with bad self-esteem, they don't um uh like they often have like a deep feeling of self-hatred, and to the point where they want to be like someone else. So this comes back to ideal self, which is who who we want to be, and what behaviors we would want to display. And this usually comes because someone because someone has an idea of what they should be, or what they have to be in order for them to like live life. Maybe that's like their aspiration, or maybe they're like comparing themselves to someone else and being like, oh, I want to be like them when I'm older. So that comes from bad self-esteem also, like if you don't have trust in yourself, and you want to be someone else. um and uh basically when the ideal self matches the self-image, this can lead to congruence. And basically when someone achieves congruence, it's much easier for them to achieve self-actualization, which is when someone achieves their full potential. So yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay. So let's just go into like the details of all of these when you talk about self-image, like what they are and stuff like that. Because I think you talked a lot about the big picture, right? So now let's like
Yeah.
zoom into the concepts and the details of the concepts. All right. So first we talk about self-image. So what is self-image?
Just like how we see ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it's a form of the self that may not actually reflect reality.
Very good.
It's a
Yeah.
form of the self. Yeah.
And the best way to um, not define something but explain something is to give an example. So could you give me an example?
Of self-image.
Yeah, on what you just said, like person self-image is how they see themselves, however it does not necessarily have to reflect reality.
Oh, maybe like for example, um someone who maybe someone who has really bad social anxiety may feel like, you know, there's something weird about them all the time, because they constantly feel like they're being judged. So it may not actually be true. Maybe not a lot of people are judging them, and maybe there's nothing wrong with them, but it's kind of like how they see themselves. They see themselves as like weird, or like something like someone who's always judging, something like that.
Yeah, very good example.
Because
Okay.
usually I think like, because I used to like feel that way also when I had social anxiety. So like I guess I always like link it back to like these, so I can like remember it more.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's very good. So you link it back to like your experiences And
Yeah.
yeah, like how do you feel about it now? Like your social anxiety, do you still have it?
I mean, a little bit, but I guess you know, I realized that I kept using my social anxiety and my anxiety in general to get out of a lot of things. Like for example, like I would my teachers would give me like an off on, like they'll be like, oh, you don't need to do the presentation like because you have anxiety and stuff, and I'd
Oh,
be like,
I
okay, and I
see.
realized that like
Yeah, yeah.
I was like making excuses for myself because of anxiety, and in full honesty, it's not an excuse to go and strive and do what you want to do in life.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I think sometimes we may use like all of these to avoid, but then if we
mhm,
actually like face it head on, sometimes it will
mhm,
actually help a lot more.
yeah,
And I understand about anxiety as well, and
mhm,
I'm not sure if like I don't think it's applicable to everyone, but something that
mhm.
I find helps would be fake it till you make it. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that works.
right.
It's like maybe it's like hard to like fake
Yeah,
confidence,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I
Of
feel like
course.
when you fake it, you just eventually get it.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
how that
right.
works. So like now I still get it like once in a while, but
Mm-hmm.
I try to be, if I really can't do it, then I'll just say, okay, maybe it's not your day today.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and sometimes like if you can't do it as well, you can just take a step back and say maybe I'll try again later. You don't have to force yourself to do it now.
yeah, yeah. But like I do also believe that like, you know, I'm really glad that I overcome that because I used to be so like I wouldn't go out. It was so bad to the point where I really hated school. Like I
Oh.
spent most of my like high school life like really hating school, and I really regret it now.
Well, it's okay. I think it's never too late, and I feel like
Mhm.
you caught on like really still at an early stage because you're kind of still in high school. You can still enjoy like your last few days. A
Yeah.
lot of people just realize it like when they come out to the workforce, and then they sort of lose like half of their lives because of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So yeah,
Mm.
I'm really glad to hear. Okay, so self-image, right? It can be
Mm.
determined by many factors. So what can it be determined by? Can you give me some examples? What do you think can affect your self image?
Um, maybe like family, friends, society, social media, maybe like in this current day.
Yes, correct, correct. So it can be parental, peer influence, could be the media. I feel like nowadays because everyone has a phone, no
Mm-hmm.
matter how old you are, so
Mm-hmm.
it really affects like a lot of people's self image, especially when it comes to advertising or like young girls. Um,
Yeah.
however, we have to remember that influences it can be positive and negative. Yeah, because I feel like a lot of times we relate self image and um, how all these factors determine it. Usually we think about the negative, right? Because of how negative a lot
Mhm.
of us have been influenced. However, we have to remember that there are also positive influences. Yeah. So
Okay.
um, self-image is also linked to how others reflect back to us. Yeah. So
Okay.
for example, when parents are told that if they tell their children something enough times, they will believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And um so if a child is always told like you can do it, right? That is really positive. So remember there's positive and negative. So the positive is if the parent always says like, oh, you can do it, but then if the parent always puts them down, always says like you are hopeless, don't even bother trying, and they think that that motivates the child. Some parents
Mm-hmm.
do think that, then it has a really negative effect on the child. Yeah, on the
Yeah.
child's self-image. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when self-image was investigated, and they were asked to write out statements about themselves. Yeah. So for example, beginning with I am, yeah, in answer to the question who am I, so they're asked who am I, and then they're asked please answer starting with I am. The types of answers that are commonly found can be categorized into three categories. Yeah, physical descriptions, social
Mm-hmm.
roles, and personality traits. So physical descriptions, I think it's quite straightforward, right? So I'm tall, I'm thin, I have um I don't know, like black hair or whatever. But so social roles is um the roles that you take on. So for example, I am a student, I am a mom. Yeah. And personality traits also quite straightforward, like your personality. I'm emotional, I worry about everything, stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And um can you tell me what you think most research indicates younger people tend how do they tend to define themselves?
Um. Oh, with like through these like three ones, like these
Yeah,
three
yeah.
social rules, or social of personal.
So usually younger people would be personality. Yeah.
Mm.
So remember the three is physical description, social role, and personality traits. Yeah.
Okay.
So for younger people, they usually define themselves in terms of their personality. Older people usually define themselves in terms of their social roles. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. So um can you link this to maybe anything,
Um. Like link it to like.
like apply it to real life or people
Oh.
that you know?
Yeah. So basically, mm, like let's say for an adult, they probably see themselves as like, okay, let's say they're um like let's say they're a CEO and that's like their position. So maybe like uh they see themselves, okay, I'm a CEO because it's like a social role. So they kind of see themselves like as that social role. I don't know how to say, but um
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And do you have any ideas of why this is the case?
um is it because like that that it's like maybe they are often praised for, like, for example, like people praise them for being a CEO, like, wow, like you built this company from scratch, it's really good. And maybe because of what maybe like their family and friends are saying and how good it is, maybe that's how like he identifies himself.
Yeah, yeah, very good. And also, sometimes because they invest all their time, effort, and money into like that
Yeah.
thing, right? And younger people, maybe they invest their time and effort in developing their personality. They're still like, I don't know, like finding themselves, as
Yeah.
people like to say. Yeah, and stuff like that, right? So that could be a reason as well. And
Mhm.
um so now what I want you to do
Mhm.
is I want you to try to write like a few I am sentences.
Oh, okay.
Okay? And then um we will talk about it a little bit.
Okay. Oh wait, this is actually quite hard. I can't think of anything. Like I remember my teacher made us do. I remember when we first started this topic, my teacher gave us like a sheet of paper at the beginning of the class and told us to write about ourselves, and everyone left the page blank.
Oh, what?
Yeah, like no, I mean like besides like the I'm this and I'm that, right? Like
Yeah.
physically, nobody knew themselves more. Like nobody knew themselves to like to the point where they could write it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And like my teacher said like, yeah, this is, I mean like he said no issue lah, like it'll be like maybe we won't know who we really are until like we're like 30, 40 years down the road, but he said it was like a good exercise to like get into the topic
Yeah,
and
and
it
also
was it made me question everything.
yeah, and maybe most people don't know who they are till like much later in life. But I think the
Mm,
earlier that we learn to self-reflect, the
mm,
better we would be. Yeah, so like yeah,
mm,
maybe other people might not know who they are, but if you are exposed to like this concept and to learn like self-reflection, then I think you would be ahead of like a lot of people.
yeah, it can also help you to like develop like a strong mindset in
Yeah.
the sense that like you know what you want and you know why you're here, like you know this is my goal and you're basically like set, like you're clear
Yeah, yeah,
as to
yeah.
what you know.
And then
But
like if you have really clear goals, you can sort of reflect and look at what can help you and what you have to
mm,
like improve on, what would be
mm,
your weaknesses and stuff like that.
yeah, I often like I mean I know a few people actually. I think my seniors, I look up to them a lot because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they already have like their sense of self. Like my my senior, she's doing pre-med
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "Oh, I can't wait to go to med school." And I was like, "I want to go too." And like she was like basically she was just telling me about her goals and I was like, "Wow, like she's so like set for life." Like
Yeah, but honestly, people who go through med school like would come out emotionally damaged, so you should
oh
think
yeah.
twice.
I mean like actually I wanted to do like maybe psychiatry or um
Yeah.
like neuro something like something to do with the brain or something.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents told me to do med school. So I might be going down that path too. So like I might like go in a completely different person then like my whole
You
like
probably will.
I probably will.
Because yeah, my partner, he went through med school and yes. Because I went through law school and he went through med school, so both the
Oh
professions.
wow.
And so we're telling our kid not to go into both the professions. Yeah.
Wait, how was law school actually?
In terms of what?
Like everything in general.
I think it's very different from med school, but I think the only thing that is the same is there is a lot of memorization, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of it. But yeah, I think for med school there is much more application, and for law school initially it's just a lot of development on like critical thinking, and you have to be quite like worldly to
Mm-hmm.
be able to go through it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reading I heard also, like a lot of reading.
It's the same for both, like any profession. I think like the professional professions,
Mm-hmm.
if you know what I mean. Yeah, there
Yeah,
are a
yeah.
lot of readings because there's so much development in the world, right? And now like it's an information world, so everyone has information. So um it's on
Mm-hmm.
you to kind of like read it up. The only thing that will set you apart is critical thinking, because everyone can just google it, right? So what sets you apart would be the critical thinking and like all the social skills, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ah, yeah.
Yeah, because for both professions, you like any profession actually, even if it's not a profession, any career, you just need like to be social and to meet people. I remember I went to an event. It
Mm,
was a social event with
mm.
like judges, barristers, and stuff, and
Yeah.
I went there holding a stack of my CV. Yeah, literally I was just giving it out, and then I landed like a few mini pupil which is like internships from that.
Mm,
Yeah, but everyone was just like sipping champagne and I was just hustling, so
mm.
yeah.
Everyone's relaxing while you were just like hustling and bustling.
Yeah, I mean everyone was hustling actually, but it's just like the way that they do it. Maybe they like try to strike out conversations, but then most of the time, if you have conversations, they might be like, oh, that was like a good candidate or whatever, but they might not remember your name. So like,
Yeah,
how are
yeah.
they gonna remember you? You
That's
have to
true. That's
stand out.
true.
Yeah.
Honestly, like personally, social events, I think it's like I don't know, like um, I remember we had this uni fair and like all my friends are just coming up to the people and talking, and then like um, I didn't know how to like respond because uh, it's like social events, like it's a bit overwhelming, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like, but that's so cool.
yeah.
It's like everyone ship, everyone's like sipping shampoo. Was this like when you were like a fresh graduate?
I wasn't even graduate yet. I was
Oh.
still like in it, yeah. Because by the time you
Mm.
graduate, everyone already has work experience. So yeah, it's
Oh.
really, really competitive.
Oh yeah, because oh, so like you have to do like at least like some internship like before you graduate to get some experience.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Mhm. Oh. Honestly, like law seems really fun. Like, but then I have a cousin who's a lawyer, and she tells me like, no, it's
Yeah.
fun like on TV, but like when you actually do it.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends as well because I think a lot of people who go into law, they actually come to a crossroads. Like
Mm-mm.
almost everyone that are close to me that went into law, like we always go into a crossroads. So either we go
Yeah.
into psych or we go into law. It's always these two options. Yeah, so
Uh,
yeah.
so why did you choose psych instead of law?
I'm um I honestly I've been told that I'm gonna be a lawyer since I was 5 by everyone around me. Like not by my parents, but like everyone around me, cause of just like how I talk, how I argue, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think that I'm a more like linguistic person, like more artsy
Mm.
person. Yeah. So
Yeah.
instead of a yeah more yeah I'm not sure how I would do in the medical field.
Yeah. I mean, I've been told the same thing since I was young, so because my parents told me to become a doctor. So at this point, right, I don't know whether I want to become a doctor or whether I've been conditioned to become a doctor.
Right. Okay, I get it.
So,
Well,
I mean, like, it is what it is.
yeah, but I mean to be honest, right, there's no rush. So you can just like
Mm-mm.
take 1 or 2 years off and your
Mm-mm.
parents might not agree, but it's
Mm-mm.
like your career and going into a field, especially a
Mm-mm.
professional field
Yeah.
where you don't have much options, you should think about it quite a bit.
And it will, like, if I'm not mistaken, a medical field like will occupy most of your life. So it'll be like suddenly like halfway if I realize I don't want to do it, it'll kind of be like a waste, you know? So
Yeah.
I'd rather like sit down and actually like because I can't like think about it too much right now because I'm
Yeah, yeah,
focusing maybe
of course, yeah.
yeah. But like, you know, I'm still like so it's like when I see myself like for example like my ideal self, right? I don't know whether my ideal self is my ideal self or what other people's ideal self of me is, like, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's a
Yeah.
mixture, um, like because it's like nature and nurture, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, but like the earlier you know how to reflect, then the better it will be, and the less
Mm,
mistakes that you'll make.
mm. Yeah. Mm. Miss, how was like college for you? Like your experience with college?
I was on the fast track, so I skipped around. 2 to 3 years in total for my
Oh wow.
education. Yeah. So for me, it was just fast track all the way. Um,
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
I guess. But yeah, so it was a hustle. Like I love hustling, but but yeah, sometimes I get that it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
So I would have classes from like 9 to like 5 or 6 most days, and then what I would do is I would go for events still,
Mm-hmm.
because I just like expanding my circle and
Mm.
like learning about stuff. So I would go to like events that I'm invited to, and like during lunch or
Mm-hmm.
after classes, and then rush back and stuff. So it was kind of occupied with like my future.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like a little afraid for college, actually. I I don't know whether it's like the new environment or not, but like I think based on what like my seniors are telling me, it seems scary. So like
Why?
they tell me that it's like I have seniors who are doing like different types of courses. Like some are doing foundation, some are doing A levels, and my parents were thinking of putting me into A levels. Um, and they were telling me like, no, don't do it. Like unless you want to have a life, then don't do A levels, don't do this, don't do that. So I
Yeah,
felt a bit
honestly.
intimidated, you know.
Yeah, it depends on your personality. If I think you can do A levels, if you want a balance, then probably not A levels.
Mm.
But I think A level sets you up really well for
Mm.
uni. Like, um, especially if you take the right subjects. It's a
Mm.
really good stepping stone, especially from the students that I have taught. A levels is a really good um, paper to take.
Yeah. I've like it's good. Like and I thought to myself like yes, it may be hard, but I think like the sacrifice would be worth it in the end, to be honest.
It is because um, it's like delayed gratification, right? So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
It's kind of like and whenever I think about like IGCSE and like because often like I'm quite overwhelmed by like studying and everything, and I think and I'm like wait how am I gonna be like during A levels if this is how I'm like during IGCSE, but I feel like hopefully when I do like whatever I do in the future, I really hope that like I'll still remain like intact and I won't get like distracted by my like freedom or anything.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
but
in
honestly, like for GCSEs or IGCSEs, you're taking so many subjects, right? And if you
oh
take the
yeah.
right subjects in A levels, you enjoy it quite a lot because you're
Mm.
learning about stuff that you actually like.
Want like you
Yeah,
actually are interested and
yeah,
you want to know about.
yeah.
Yeah. I think like it's I think it's the way it's the mindset I think like if you think if someone thinks oh like it's so difficult it's so this then yeah it will influence like your mindset but it's like it's I think it's all about how you like see it and if you see it in like a positive light then like I think like it's okay lah like
Yeah, yeah. Always put a positive
mm,
spin to everything, then it will
mm,
make it much easier, you know? Like you're
yeah
still doing the same thing. So
mm,
might as well not dread doing it, right?
yeah
Yeah.
it's like just it like as long it's like if I think one thing I used to actually like this is a fun fact but in year 10 I used to like fail all my subjects and I never really put a lot of effort into it until I got like a wake up call and that's when I changed my entire mindset to like um and I told myself like even if I don't get the best results as long as I know I like put a lot of effort into it and it actually my grades actually improved
That's really
so
good. I'm glad to hear.
it's like I mean like I mean, it's for no for the sciences it was like big improvement. For the rest of my subjects, it's like okay, it's all right. But like um uh, I just want to like I think like in year 10 when I saw the results, it's like what if this is my IGCSE results and I don't get anywhere in life because of it like that. Like that's what I was like thinking
That's a
back
huge
then.
step, but yeah, yeah.
It's like,
That is a good
but
wake up call.
no, I don't know. I don't know why I thought like that because, like, obviously, your IGCSE results don't determine whether like you're gonna
Yeah,
be like successful in the future or not. Like
yeah,
everyone will have success in their own way, but back then I was thinking like, oh my god, like if I don't like sort myself out right now,
yeah,
I may not sort myself out like in the future.
yeah.
So that was really really scary, but I really hope that I can like carry this on to like college, but I'm just really scared.
Don't worry about it. I think just take it one step at a time. Now just like
Mm,
focus on your GCSEs, and when you get to college, just take it one step at a time. I know sometimes
mm,
it might get to be like a lot. So
mm,
just make sure, like, even if you're doing A levels, right, and you don't really have like work life balance, just try to like put some in. So like I said, right,
mm,
I know like you have to work much harder and you have to like sacrifice like maybe your lunchtime sometimes, but make
mm.
sure that like you still do things outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be like events, right? It could just be like making sure you have physical health and stuff like that.
Just basically making sure that you don't neglect yourself in a way like that.
Yeah, yeah. I used to like if I wasn't going to events, I used to
Hmm.
work out like during lunchtime and then eat lunch during class.
Oh, wait, that's actually quite good actually.
Yes.
Quite, it's a way to like keep active.
Yeah.
Mm. I I feel like I don't know, like I think it was because of what people are saying, you know.
Yeah,
But I
don't
will definitely like keep it in mind and I will make sure like I don't wanna like lose the thing I'm scared of is that um like if I focus on one thing too much, I'm afraid that I'll neglect everything else. Like, you know, I think like for example, like maybe I'll be studying for a couple of days and then I realize, oh my room's a bit messy. Like I've been neglecting my room. So it's like things like that. I'm scared that those habits can like get like come with me to college and then like that's what's gonna happen and I'm a bit like scared.
But that's
You know?
fine, right? If you really look, if you find something you really enjoy and like you
Mm,
pour your heart and soul into it, that's usually how people like succeed in their whatever that they succeed in, right? Because they
mm,
believe in it so much, they give their all to it. Sometimes yes,
mm.
like you neglect other parts, but it's because you love this thing so much, right?
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, so
So it's like all worth it in the end.
yeah, so it's okay. Like as long as um you're enjoying it, as long as you are working towards something, I think it's fine.
Mm. Yes. Thank you, Liz. That really helped me out.
No worries.
And
Uh,
then
yeah.
like all the I mean like mostly like all the teachers I talk to, like my school teachers, they kind of just tell me to like suck it up and just be like, it is what it is. You're gonna have to like and but like I really appreciated you like actually like explaining everything to me.
Yeah, I mean, but they work in a school, so
Yeah. No, but it's
sometimes
like it's so funny because I'll tell them like I'm so worried about college and they'll be like, suck it up.
yeah,
It is what
yeah.
it is.
Yeah, I mean, like it's also different, right? Because like
Mhm.
the choice they made was to like work in a school where there's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
consistency and everything, right? So it just depends on like the kind of person you are. But if you have like
Mhm.
this outlook in life, right, where like
Mhm.
you just pace yourself and all of
Mhm.
this, then just trust in yourself. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know why they told you that. I was trying to find a reason, but I don't know why.
My school is just I don't know, like I don't know how to describe it. Like sometimes it's just really crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
Including like I remember, our psychology exam actually started like 10 minutes later than it's actually supposed to start. Like we had to wait and we were waiting in the exam hall because the exam was supposed to be 7:30, but it started at like 7:40, like
Did it
7:41.
end later?
Pardon?
Did it end later, or did they take up your 10 minutes?
Oh no, it ended later.
Oh, okay, okay.
But because it ended like 10 minutes, like because like we started 10 minutes later, we ended like 10 minutes later. And someone's phone was like ringing because I think the parents were like calling to see if they're like because they wanted to pick the child up,
Mm-hmm.
and someone's phone was like ringing throughout the exam, and my teacher, and actually the thing was, right, if someone's phone rings during the exam, they're supposed to be disqualified immediately.
Yeah.
So but like my teacher like didn't, obviously, because yeah, like they didn't disqualify the guy, but they just turned off the phone
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then gave us like a big talk about how like if this ever happens again, like we will disqualify you. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
It's like, no, but like the thing is, right, like why tell us to bring the phone into the exam hall when we can just put it like downstairs in the box? Like why do we need to put it?
Oh, I think they don't wanna like have responsibility over it.
Oh yeah, so at least like
Yeah.
someone's there and someone can like see.
Yeah, I remember when I did it, we were allowed to bring our phones in as well.
Oh, Miss, did you do IGCSE?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
what year did you do it in?
Sorry?
What year did you do it in?
I skipped a year.
Oh.
Yeah, I skipped a year. So we all do it in like year 11, but you're allowed to
Mhm.
skip a year in the middle. Yeah, so that was kind of crazy
Oh.
as well.
So, did you do it in year 10?
Uh, our system was a bit different. So you got to skip the middle year, but you still do it in
Okay.
year 11. So that means like
Mm.
if people don't skip a year, they still come to year 11, right? So
Ah,
for us,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like year 7, year 8, and then year 10, and then year 11. But people who don't get to skip the year, they just do year 9.
Oh, yeah, I get it. So, basically, you skipped year 9 and went to like
Yeah.
year 10, year 11 straight away.
Yeah.
Oh. Actually, that's actually like quite good though. Like, actually, because,
Depends on like your development, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, usually, like, I remember after we took the papers, most of my classmates were saying we could have just finished IGs in like, in year 10. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no way. I was like, no way. Like you want to like do
To be
like
honest, like some of
mm,
my like cuz I homeschool children as well, and some of them
mm.
take it in like year 9, year 10, depends.
Wow, like the heavy subjects, like science subjects and all.
Just whatever they're good at. So what I do is
Um,
I just spot like what they're good at, and then like why waste your energy and time on stuff that you're not that good at, right? Cuz so I just
yeah.
equip them with the skills that I feel like are important, and then I think later on in life they can just pick up concepts that they need to, as long as they have
Mhm.
the skill.
Ah, yeah. Oh, no wonder. Yeah, it would make so much sense because I remember like we finished all the language subjects in some people finish all the language subjects in year 10, but they didn't allow us to do like some. No, I have a few friends who were really good at maths and ad maths and stuff. Like they just picked it up and they wanted to finish it in year 10 itself so that in year 11 they could just focus on whatever subjects they have. But the school didn't allow.
Yeah.
And because maybe because like the term just started, but like, you know, it would have put a lot less pressure on the students if they finished what they were good at like earlier on so that
Yeah,
they can
yeah.
focus on the ones that they need to improve.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I understand, like, when you're focusing on something, trying to improve something, you might forget the things that you're good at also.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why like I
Mm.
also do like teach private candidates for like A levels. Yeah, so
Oh,
some of
okay.
them just don't go to school anymore, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's just classes and then they just do A levels, huh?
Yeah, yeah, because it's like
Um,
one to one, right? So they can do it like either faster or they can do it much better and stuff like that. Because like
yeah.
yeah, so I figured out that because there are a lot of subjects that I didn't get in school, and then I
Mhm,
started like to learn about it, and then I started to break it down into like easy to bite chunks, um and
mhm,
the concepts became really clear to me, and then I was able to teach it. So I was like, I can do this. Like what's my teacher doing? But then like to be fair, right, they had 24 students. So I find
mhm,
that when it like comes down to it, one to one is still better. And yeah,
mhm.
it's just better in general.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's like you're able to get, because if it's like a class of 24 students and one teacher, it's like you're not fully able to get like that one-to-one thing where it's like, oh, the teacher would know your strengths and weaknesses and what you're good at and what you're not good at and what you need to work on and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
And like a lot of my
Mhm,
students, they
mhm,
come back from college, and then I go through like the slides with them or their notes, and I have to start from like scratch. I have to start from day one. And I'm like,
mhm.
why are you going to college? Because like they're failing, and then they come to me, and then they understand everything. Then they get like
Mhm.
a or a B within like a few months, and then I'm like,
Oh, wow.
what's your lecturer doing, right?
God, it's like it's so like I think I'm a victim of that too, to be honest, because my I think when I was failing, I think when I started studying myself and when I got one-to-one classes, that's when my grades started to improve. And I was
Yeah.
like, I also think because teachers nowadays, especially in high school, I don't know why, but you find a lot less teachers who are willing to do like interactive learning, you
It's
know?
just harder. It's not that easy.
It's
Yeah.
really not. It's
Um,
like um my bio teacher, actually, to be honest, like biology, right? It's like you can't just read off slides and learn. Like, there's no
I
way.
don't think you can for anything, but I feel like
Yeah.
it's like to me I didn't get it as well until
Mhm,
like some people they talk to me about how I teach, and then I look at
mhm,
some of my students and I realize, oh
mhm,
wow, like it's not easy. It's
mhm.
just it's just that like you have to understand the concepts and understand your students at the same time, and then you
Yeah.
have to like yeah, like sort of combine them together and
Mhm.
create something. Yeah.
Yeah. And I understand for teachers it's really not easy because especially for like 24 students, how are you gonna individually know like the strengths and weaknesses of 24 students and then apply your teaching methods to like that, like that whole group,
You could
right?
actually, but I just don't think that they find it worth it.
Mm-mm. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, they do help whenever um
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like come to them and ask for help. But one thing is, you know, when we submit homework, I submitted all my paper six homework, like all my practical homework, to my teacher, and then we had bio, like the my bio practical exam was like, I think on Monday, and it was like 2 hours before the exam, and we were like revising. And my teacher gave me my homework that I'd submitted like 2 to 3 weeks ago, two
Yeah,
hours
yeah.
before the exam.
Yeah.
And like we quickly like read through it, and I got a couple things wrong, and I realized I've been doing that wrong for the entire like revision
Oh
period.
wow.
So I was like so scared, and I asked my teacher about it, and she like helped me really fast. Like she sat me down and she made
Yeah.
sure like I fixed my mistakes, and like I was very, very grateful for that.
Yeah,
So,
I'm glad.
and I know like she's been busy with the year 10s too, but like I'm
But you should
even
be the
though like
priority, right? Because your GCSEs are coming up.
yeah, but I think the I mean she's kind of like torn because um she's also the exam director.
Oh, I see.
So she's very, very busy, but
Yeah.
she made sure that like I understood, and I really, really like appreciate her for that because she was like she had to like usually the exam director has to like be up in the hall like 30 minutes before the exam, but she was helping me, so like I really appreciated her for that
Yeah, I'm glad she helped you.
because I was no, it was like I was doing that wrong for the whole
Oh,
time.
do you not have biology um tutoring? Oh,
I actually do.
I
Uh,
see.
I'm to be honest, I'm very good at like um what's it called? Subjective questions.
Theory?
Yeah. Yeah, theory, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very good at theory. Um so I often enjoy theory more because like all you have to do is like study well and um I do a lot of active recall. I really like active recall, so um doing like theory papers is more of like oh like it's fun, like it's a quiz like that. So um, I'm quite good at that. But when it comes to multiple choice, I don't know why, but I'm so bad at multiple choice. Or like, um, I don't know. I feel like I'm just really indecisive. So like, I see a question, I circle it, and I'm like, wait, no. Like, I overthink the question
Yeah,
for like
yeah.
5 minutes and then
Yeah, I
change it.
understand.
So I had tutoring for biochem, physics, and maths. So constantly, I think throughout, I think from year 10 itself, my schedule was really packed. I had tuition around the clock actually,
Oh, I see.
but it's really worth it. Like, it's so worth it.
Yeah, it is, right? And sometimes
Yeah.
you wonder like should you have gone to school?
But like, yeah, actually, yeah, like, it's like, you know, my, my teachers really like, including you, miss, like, really helped me out. And I was like, wait, why did I go to school when I just have like my teachers here that made me like understand everything that
Yeah.
my school teacher taught me my school teacher taught me something for a week, but and I still didn't understand after that week, but my tuition teacher made me understand it after like a couple days.
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
So it's like, but it's okay. I think like school's also really important because then you get to know like your learning style and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I guess like now I know that one to one would work more for me than um
It will work more for anyone, to be honest.
yeah, that's true actually.
Yeah.
Like and honestly, I told my friends like I told my friends sometimes I'll tell them like, hey, I don't think we should like study in a group because we're all getting distracted. Like, look, we were in the library like 2 seconds ago and now we're in the cafeteria eating something. So it's like,
But maybe that's what they want. They just want like friends.
oh yeah, maybe I know like one of my friends. Actually, I used to call my friend and study because she used to have very bad like overthinking. So she would overthink during while she studied and it would affect her. So I would usually just be there and do my own work with her so that she wouldn't like. So I understand like sometimes some people really do need like the company of another person to maybe like calm their thoughts down and everything like that.
Yeah.
But for me, like my entire school group is like they're really chaotic. So like we'll say we'll study and then eventually some guy will like be breaking the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know, like they break ceilings. I don't know how they break ceilings, but they end up breaking ceilings. Cause like I remember like like the ceiling is kind of like hollow. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they were throwing a basketball at the ceiling until the ceiling broke.
Of course.
and
I
and it
I
didn't like and we were like and they did it for like so many classrooms until they got caught, and then they've been doing that since like year 8. So it's
my
like
I think one of the wildest times in my
mm.
classroom was like when I remember a guy climbed up on the door and was like swinging with the door. He was like a
What?
panda on the door. Yeah. So school is crazy.
On the door?
Yep.
That's crazy. Oh my god. Okay, school is actually like it's so sad because I don't think I mean in college I don't think it will be that like I don't think a lot of crazy things will happen like how it happens in school, but it's like
Depends, to be honest. Yeah.
yeah. I've I've recorded so many of it, like so many of the things they do. And I think I might like give it to my teachers and put it in the graduation. I mean, what they gonna do? Like they can't do anything. Like we're graduating already, so like But technically, I am giving them evidence that like they
Yeah.
vandalized the school, but they memang won't do anything lah. How? Wait, Miss. How do I describe like I'm
Just
like
anything, just describe yourself.
um I'm um
So if you want to go into like medical or law, you can just let us know. We can
oh
help you
okay.
out. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I was like um criminal law. I feel like
Yes.
criminal law like really piqued my interest.
Yes, I think it
Right.
piques everyone's interest, and then we realize that we need to have a livelihood and proper income, so you can think again. But yeah,
I think
my
criminology also. I think I wanted to pursue that, but then I realized like Malaysia doesn't really have like a.
yeah, I wanted to as well, so
It's really interesting, right? It's like you get to like
yeah.
really dive deep into like you know certain cases and stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
sadly here like there's not much of like a future for that
Yeah.
unless like you want to work in the government.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Medicine, is there a way like before I go into college, is there a way I could like gain experience?
Experience,
Yeah.
I I'm not really sure. I have to ask my partner. Um
Mm.
but like for hospitals internship and stuff, they usually look for like graduates or students. So you would be fighting with the graduates and current students. So I'm not really sure, unless like um unless you have a contact and then they allow you to shadow them.
Um, like maybe like follow them around like that.
Yeah.
I think I do. My dad is friends with a doctor, and so is my friend's aunt. But like,
Yeah, you can try. You can try. But to be honest, like I'm in the law profession and I know a lot about medicine because I've been admitted to the hospital one too many times. So that's also
oh,
a really good way. Yeah.
I think maybe I'd like to maybe like start small, maybe a clinic first, and then maybe I'll move to a hospital when I'm a little bit older.
I think it's a bit harder to get like to be in a clinic just because like there's so little it's either so little work or I'm not really sure, but yeah, you can like ask people, I guess.
Cause I think uh I wouldn't want to like stay at home and do nothing for like summer. So I don't want to just like go out all the time. I kind of want to. It's either
Actually,
like
you can do like um you can do preparation. So do like have like I mean if you want practical experience, then yeah, you could do that. And or if you want to try to like fast track A levels or whatever, you can just start in the summer, you know.
oh, so like so
Just start.
maybe is it just like start like the course straight away?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like don't for A levels, right? Don't you have to like study prior to starting the course?
Well, I didn't have time, so.
um, I think I'll think about it because I was
Yeah.
thinking of maybe taking like a bit of like a gap between IGCSE and A levels so that I can have time to
Oh. Yeah, in that
maybe
case, I
like
think
well.
it would be easier to um yeah, I guess you could ask around
Mhm.
yeah, and think about it.
Mm. I think it's either that or maybe like I might like maybe get a summer job just to like get experience of how it is to like work because I've never worked a day in my life.
Really?
I really haven't. Like I think when I turned 16 last year, um, my parents like I told my parents like technically I can work now. So I told them like, oh, can I start working? And they're like, no, focus on school.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I started my business without like asking or telling my parents, and then one day they were just like, "Oh wow!" Like, cause I brought them out for food, and then they were like, "Where are you getting this
Oh,
money?" And then they found out. So, and then it became
oh,
like a really big thing. Then they found out, and then I'm like, "Ta-da!"
ta-da! Like I got a business.
Yep.
Oh, miss, what did you do your business in? Like what
So
was the
it's quite a long story, but basically I went to an entrepreneurial school, so they
Mhm.
really encourage these kind of things. So I entered a competition with my friend and we got
Mhm.
second. It was
Oh,
like
that's great.
you have to earn like the most money, and then so there are a few criterias, right? And then like your creativity and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I took time off a lot of classes to do that, and then my dad was like really supportive of that, right? And then because we won
Oh.
second place, we were like, I think we're pretty good at this. And then we continued without like consulting anyone. So uh um before the competition, right, we did a lot of like research and stuff, so we learned how to do research already. So we just
Mm.
research on like our customer base and like who we can reach and all of that. And because we were in school, right, we managed to do like class hoodies and stuff. So almost all the classes wanted it, right? So we had like batch orders and stuff. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And wow, that's actually so cool.
That was like when we were 13 or 14. So we kept doing
13,
it.
14?
Yeah, so we kept doing it. That's why, like, the events that I went to, it was mostly like entrepreneurial events, like when I was in A levels, because I just didn't want to give it up. So, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's 13, 14. When
Yeah,
I was
well.
13, 14, I literally was just playing games all day.
Well, I think I did play games a little bit, but then after that, I was just like, yeah, you know what? I kind of want money, so.
I was like actually starting a business like would actually be like quite like good, especially for young like students because like in a way you're like your own boss, so you can like navigate
Yeah,
yourself.
but I think that um
Mm.
people who like are like self business owners, I guess, are kind of a different breed, which I realized like recently because I was thinking about it. And like if I were to go into like the corporate world, I would be entry level, so I would be
Mm.
like an intern, to be honest, because I have a few businesses of my own and they don't see that as like corporate experience.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so.
Mm. I think me and my friends were thinking of starting. Me and my friend actually, we were thinking of starting like a thrifting business.
In Malaysia.
Yeah, in like an online thing where we just get like old clothes and resell them.
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
um yeah, I think you have to look at whether um you would be able to sort of like up, what do you say, like fix it up, I guess, because a lot of them
Oh.
would be um you know spoiled or very old and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we were thinking of looking like at the condition. If the condition isn't good, then like we obviously can't like sell it. But
Yeah,
um,
in that case, then there are actually quite a few businesses doing that already. So you could look at that and then look at all of them and then sort of figure out like what is missing in that
mhm.
industry and then find a way to fill the gap.
So like it's like something so that people know like oh there's something different about your business compared to like other
Yeah,
businesses.
yeah, and also like when people want to have like a successful business, right? What they do is they look for
Mm.
what they're trying to fix a problem. They're not really trying to like get as much money as they can for themselves. Like
Mm.
usually people who are successful, they see a problem and they get really annoyed and then they do everything they can to like fix that problem. And then everybody around them are like, "Oh wait, I have that problem. Okay, I'll buy from you," or like, "Okay, I'll come to you."
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. We haven't really like I think we only decided like oh we'll probably start a business after IGs, but I think like we're not thinking too much about it because we said like oh let's focus on our exams. Then once our exam is finished, then we can like sit down. Actually, my dad is very good with business and everything, so we were thinking of like um, asking my dad for help and
Does he have like his own
yeah.
business?
He's actually a chartered accountant,
Ah, I
so
see, I see, I see.
he's very good at like
Right. So a professional as well.
yeah. So and her her side of the family, her I think her dad also has um multiple businesses, so we can actually like consult our
Yeah.
parents and see.
Yeah.
Actually, I have like two like different professions in the household because my dad's a chartered accountant, my mom's a forensic scientist.
That's so cool.
Right. It's like she actually like she works in she majored for her PhD, she majored in I think microbiology,
Oh, I see.
and she's worked in like forensic chemistry. Like she actually works for Jabatan Kimia,
Mm,
Malaysia.
mm, mm.
So I remember like she would tell me like when I was very young, she would go to court and she would be like an expert
Yeah, yeah,
witness,
yeah, yeah,
and I was like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
and
I think
like
she has the easiest questioning out of everyone in the court, right?
I think so. Like she basically, I think she just explains like what
Yeah. Yeah,
she
yeah, yeah,
found.
she does. Because I remember,
Mhm.
like we did a mock trial, right? Like in the
Oh.
UK, and
Mhm.
because police have to go through training for that as well. Like they have
Yeah.
to learn like how they're gonna be roasted in court, basically. And
Mhm.
I was on the opposing team, and I like demolished the police officer, and he just like
Oh my
his face
gosh.
just got like, what's this tiny little girl doing to me? Because
That would have been
I ended with
hilarious.
like, oh, so you're it was either like, oh, so you're not sure, are you, or like, so you're a liar, aren't you? And then he was just like,
Absolutely made sure he had no defense whatsoever. He couldn't get
Yeah, because
anything
he
out.
went up, he was so sure, he was like, yes, I saw it. And then I asked him all these questions, and then he's like, I saw it, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that
Wow,
was
that's
fun.
that, that would have been so funny. I feel like it would have been so satisfying.
Yeah, cause we got like a real judge, I think, or a lawyer, and then we had like all these like people, and yeah, it was really fun.
Oh, that would have been so great. I think like um I actually my mom I wanted to do forensic, but my mom convinced me not
Not
to.
to? Yeah, yeah. How about you? You ask your dad if you should be a chartered accountant. He probably would tell you no, right?
Oh no, he actually he told me not to do it because I mean I'm good at maths if I practice. I'm not good at like
Oh,
anything with numbers
I
anything.
see. Okay, yeah, I get it. I get it.
But my mom, I'm more towards my mom's side for like science, and then like you see my sister, and she's just like maths, and she wants
Yeah.
to take like she was telling me, oh, I want to take physics and chem for IG. So I was like, physics and chem, really? So
I get
like,
the physics, but I don't really get the chem.
really?
Um, honestly, it's just because of my teacher. So like for
Oh,
physics, right?
mhm,
I was like doing so badly, and then one
mhm,
of the exams, like, cause we go up, and then our teacher hands us like our papers, so like
mhm.
other people don't know our results and stuff. And then he
Yeah.
looks at me and he's like, so what have you been doing? And I'm like, nothing. Then he's like, are you sure? What have you done? Like, then I was just like, nothing. Like, what did I do so badly that like you're questioning me? And then I opened my paper, and it was like a B plus or something. And like, yeah, I know it's not an A star, but like
Mhm,
from like someone who was barely passing,
mhm,
yeah, he was like, I was just like, it's because he's currently the principal of the school, so
mhm,
he's just like a really really good teacher. And like
mhm,
he didn't
mhm.
really do anything right, but he really like motivates us, because like he's such a good teacher. And then one day I just had a breakthrough as compared to like
Mhm.
chemistry. I just don't understand like how all these concepts that I'm able to like break down and teach now was like just so foreign to me. It was like them speaking to me in Latin or something. So
Oh,
yeah, I guess it's just the teacher. But I used to love biology as well, and then one of my teachers like just shut that down so quickly. Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
How? Like the way they thought, or?
Apparently that teacher, she didn't do this to us, but just to tell you what sort of teacher she is, she went into the
Mhm,
class, and then she
mhm.
pointed, and then she was like, you, okay, you guys come with me to the other class. The rest of you, I don't care about like teaching you guys.
What?
Yep. So
So it's like picking and choosing, and she just chose whoever, like chose to help whoever she wanted to help.
yep. And then I was the non iPad kid, non Apple kid in my class, right? And then
Oh yeah.
everyone was playing like Smurfs. So you can just imagine like what era I came from. But basically Smurfs is just like a game which everyone played because they all had Apple products. And then she's like, okay, if you guys do well in this exam, then I will like give you the hacks to this like Smurf game or whatever. So obviously that didn't motivate me at all, right? So I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
The hacks to this. I bet she didn't have the hacks to this movie.
Oh yeah, she did. She did.
She did?
Yeah.
What? Where is this teacher from?
I don't know, but it's just crazy.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? So it's like,
No, personally, I completely agree because I feel like a teacher has a lot of influence on whether you like the subject or not. Like, actually, I used to be failing my biochem and my physics. Actually, no, I passed physics in year 10, and I used to be failing my biochem like really badly. Like at one point, I got like a G,
uh-huh.
like, and the lowest grade is a U, and I was like, how did I get a G? Like, how did I get a G? Like you have to get at least below a 20 out of 100 for that. I
Yeah,
was like, how
yeah.
did I get a G? So then I studied, like I studied like not a lot. I studied a lot, and then I went to like an F on the second term of year 10, and she was like, okay. And like one of my teachers actually, she always tried to like, I know like she tried to motivate me, but it kind of seemed like she was putting me down until this day. Like, I don't know, but like she came up to me and she told me like, Hima, I don't think like the sciences are good for you. I think you should like step down and take combined science because you're just not a science person. You just can't do it. Like some people like just can't do it and you can't do it. And I'm like,
That's
what?
nice.
I was like, what? What are you saying? And she already like convinced my parents to let me drop ad maths, and thank God because like I really hated ad maths
Yeah,
back then.
yeah.
But like I really liked science, but I just didn't put in the effort. And like she was just like telling me that like you can't do it, you can't do it. I went home and I cried, and then
Oh.
my parents didn't take any of it. They were like, "What are you doing? Why are you crying? Is it gonna solve anything?" And I was like, oh yeah. It's like, oh yeah, it's not gonna solve anything. So I kind of did like the toxic motivation kind of thing, and
Yeah, yeah.
I went like, and I hustled for so like I hustled until like the end of year 10 to 3,
Yeah, yeah.
and my grade went from an F to a B.
That's great. Yeah.
It was like it surprised her even, and she's like, what? She's like, how do you do it? How do you do it? And I was like, um, I thought you said I should go back to combined.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I mean, sometimes it's okay to feel like really down and like it's okay to cry about it, but as long as like you pick yourself up and take it step by
Yeah.
step. Yeah.
I think crying is actually very, very like important.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it
I feel
is.
like if you don't some of my friends said like whenever something bad happens, like don't cry, don't cry. I'm like, what do you
Yeah.
mean don't cry? Like I have to cry. It has to happen in order for me to let it all out. If I just
Yeah.
keep it inside, it's just gonna like it's not good for myself, you
Yeah,
know?
it'll kill you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like nowadays, especially like over like situations and stuff, people tend to like think that crying is weak or crying like or like if you're crying over somebody like someone will be like, oh, don't cry, like those people don't deserve your tears, but you're not crying for the person, you're crying
Yeah,
for
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like, like crying is so important to just like let it all out, and that's what like I realize, and it really does help. Like, but don't like I really like you can cry, but don't cry yourself to the point where it's like draining
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it
yeah.
has to be like you have to know like when to be like, okay, that's enough. I need to like pick myself back up. And
Yeah.
now I got like A stars for my sciences, and then she's like out of my hair for now, but she's still on about me like for my maths. Like I got a B for maths, but she's like, Yima, why can't you get an A for maths? And I'm like, no, she's always there. She's like always in my ear somehow, somewhere. And she always tries to ask me um like random questions throughout the day. She's like, "Did you go to class? Did you do this? Did you do that?" I'm like, "Yes." Like, I'm on my way to class now. Like, and she's
Yeah,
been like kacawing my friends also.
that would be so annoying, right?
It's like, I get like, you know, that she has our best interest, but
Yeah, yeah, but
a
sometimes,
bit
yeah.
like it kind of gets on our nerves sometimes because uh I don't know, it's like she used to really demotivate me like a lot, like with what she would say about that I can't do it and stuff like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
very like, you know it could make or break someone, honestly.
Yeah.
It depends on the person. Like, if you if you told that to, like, if let's say if I didn't pick myself back up, I probably like would have gave into like what she said, and then I don't know where I'd be if I did.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, it's very like scary. These kinds of like negative motivation is really scary. Like, you're playing with fire when you like.
Yeah, I get it.
And usually negative motivation does not work. I don't know why people think it works, but sometimes it works for some people and it doesn't work for some people.
It works if you um use it as motivation, but not till the point where you put yourself down to,
Yeah.
yeah, to get like something.
Industry or inferiority. Eric Erickson's eight stages of development. Eight stage of man.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, when we look at like the eight stages of like identity development, I feel like um won't some people like move faster through it than others?
Could be, yeah.
Because like industry or inferiority is like 5 to 12 years old. What 5-year old would think about effort? I didn't think about effort when I was 5. But like, um, yeah, I think. Wait, so would Eric Erickson's theory actually be valid if if because it was only about men, right? So it's like, it was only about men, and it didn't have. So if we were to repeat this experiment with like in a different part of the world, would it have been different? Would the results be different, and would the stages be like the age ranges would be different? Like, yeah.
It could be, but this the Erickson's eight stages, right?
Mhm.
Um I mean we'll go through it a bit later, but it's just like a theory, right? And it's based on other ideas and theories. So
Mhm.
um yeah, it could be different, but just like the triangle, it's just a theory.
Mhm.
The Maslow's, triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a theory, and
Mhm.
it we could like look into like case studies of this, but in itself it is just a theory.
Oh, like case studies, as in like how?
So where this theory was applied,
Mhm.
yeah. So
Oh,
those would be like case studies, right?
is there any like case studies that we could look into? Like, because I feel like it would help like me like understand it more.
Yeah, yeah, we could look into it. It might be a
Mhm.
bit long, but I think, yeah, we would understand it a little bit better. They may just
Mhm.
apply the study, I mean
Okay.
the theory. So it may not be completely right or whatever, but it's just a like another case study. Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we can go through that a little bit.
Mhm. okay, all like the I'm sentences that I wrote, I realized like it was very much more like personality. Like, and I remember like us talking about like how um adolescent, like children, like teenagers often talk about like personality characteristic.
Younger people, yeah.
Yeah. So like I wrote like I'm happy, I'm content, I'm confident, I'm awkward, I'm hardworking, and I'm a student, and I'm tall.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, so um I was about to send you like the questions. Yeah.
Oh,
So I sent it over to you. Oh wait, never mind. Never mind. So yeah, the questions were just like how many sentences were about your physical self, how many about your social self, how many about your psychological and emotional self, stuff like that. But I'm glad that you already analyzed it. Yeah. And yeah, it's just an interesting activity to do.
yeah. But it's like really, I realize like it's so hard to like write down something about yourself. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it may be hard, especially um it also is hard to do self-reflection, you know.
yeah,
Because sometimes it's just difficult to look inwards.
yeah, I agree. I think journaling really helps a lot, right? Like to
Yeah.
really understand yourself.
I mean, it works for some people and it doesn't work for others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so the next part that we're going to go through is self-esteem. Okay.
Okay.
So what is self-esteem?
So,
Just a one-liner.
self-esteem,
Just a one-liner.
just like how we value ourselves.
Yeah. So it's a measure,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, of how much we value ourselves. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, this is a measure. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so self-esteem also refers to how much we approve of ourselves, how accepting we are of ourselves. Yeah.
Okay.
And self-esteem must involve some form of self-evaluation. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is because it measures how much value a person places on themselves. Therefore, self-esteem usually described as high or low. Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, for self-image, have you noted down everything that we have discussed?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. So um okay, so now let's talk about someone who has high self-esteem. Okay? High self-esteem. Someone who has high self-esteem would place great value on themselves and have a positive view on who they are. Yeah. And if
Okay.
you have high self-esteem, right, what will happen is you will this will lead to confidence in your abilities, in your decision making, and then it will lead to self-acceptance. You won't worry about being judged by others, and you will have an optimistic outlook on life. Okay, so low self-esteem, negative view of themselves, and does not place a high value on themselves. So low self-esteem can lead to what?
Depression. Incongruence.
That's quite, yeah, that's a bit far, but yes, it may lead to depression, but it will lead to a negative outlook on life. Yeah, so if it's
Yeah.
really bad, it may lead to depression, but it doesn't necessarily lead to depression. Okay. And
Yeah.
so this is the opposite of high self-esteem. So just now we talked about how high self-esteem will have confidence in abilities and decision making, right? So low self-esteem, you will have lack of confidence, always negatively comparing yourself to others, always wanting to be someone else, and always worrying about being judged by others. So remember, if you have high self esteem, you won't be worried about being judged by others, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so research shows that self esteem is based on four important factors. What are these four important factors?
Um, I'm not sure.
So it's the reaction of others, okay,
Mm-hmm.
comparison with others, social roles, and identification. Okay, so just to go into it a little bit more, the reaction of others means if you have positive interaction with others, you are
Mm-hmm.
more likely to develop high self esteem.
Mm.
Okay, and then in comparing with others, if you are comparing yourself with someone that you think is less successful, it will lead to high self esteem. Okay, and the
Um,
inverse would be, what would the inverse be?
like you're comparing yourself to someone who's more successful than you.
And it would lead to
Um, Low confidence.
self esteem, low self
Oh
esteem.
yeah.
Yeah, so remember
Mm-hmm.
the term we are learning or talking about here is self esteem. Okay, the
Mm.
next one is social roles. So if you carry a if you have a social role which carries prestige, right,
Mm.
it will link to what?
High self esteem.
Yeah, and
Mm.
the inverse is true. So lower social roles would be low self-esteem. Okay, and
Yeah.
the last one is identification. So identification with a social role is usually the biggest effect on levels of self-esteem. Okay,
Okay.
and um, some people argue that parental influence is also very important as well. Okay,
Mm.
so these are the four things that you have to remember and take note of. Okay,
Okay.
so have you taken down the notes for these?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so the next part is the ideal self. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
what is the ideal self?
The ideal self is basically like who we want to be and what behaviors we want to display.
Yes, okay, and if there is a mismatch between who we think we are, meaning our self image, and our ideal self, what does this lead to?
Um, Incongruent.
Um,
Wait, that's ideal self and self image, right?
yeah. We are talking about that. So before we talk about incongruence, we talk about leading to low self-esteem. Okay,
Oh,
so it
okay.
will lead to a lower self-esteem. So the bigger the discrepancy, the lower esteem there would be.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
again, the inverse would be true. Okay, and then you did mention incongruence as well. So can
Mm-hmm.
you give me an example
Like of ideal self.
of incongruence?
Mm. Okay, let's say like, oh, you see someone like, okay, you are like, let's say you're a barista. There's nothing wrong with being a barista. I love baristas. But like, let's say you're a barista and you see like a CEO um walking by, like with like a suit and everything, and he looks very rich. And then you look at him and you're like, oh, like that's what I want to be. And then you start making like the comparisons, and because you make the comparison, that leads because you're comparing yourself to someone who has a higher social status than you. You will feel your self-esteem will start to feel very low. And basically, when you compare that to your what you are now to your ideal self, you realize that, oh, it doesn't match, and that lowers your self-esteem even more.
Yep, good. Okay, so we don't actually have to talk about the comparison with other
Mm-hmm.
people because this is our self image and our ideal self, right? So it will be, so the other part would be true. So something that we want to be or we wish we could be or we see ourselves as, but then in reality it's not, right? So that would be incongruence. Yeah, so another example that I can give you is, if for example you want to be a pilot, right? But they don't have the relevant qualifications because I don't know, like they failed pilot school or something. Yeah. So they would be incongruent in terms of self-image and ideal self. Okay? Because the two do not match. So when we talk about congruence, it is when ideal self and actual experience very consistent or similar. So the pilot thing, so he passed pilot exam and he's a pilot now. Yeah. So this is very rare because most people consistently experience some level of incongruence. Yeah. So the development of congruence is dependent on what?
It depends on whether the self-image matches the ideal self.
Okay, so that is what congruence is dependent on. The development of congruence
I'm
is
not sure.
okay. So do you understand what the development of congruence means? Means how you get to the state of congruence.
Oh,
So that's different from having or being in the state of congruence. Means how do you develop it? How do you build it up? It's based on.
get,
Sorry?
like I get the idea, but I'm not sure how to describe it.
It is dependent on unconditional positive regard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you understand how that is, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so Rogers argued that for a person to achieve self-actualization, they must be in a state of what?
Congruence.
Correct. Very good. Okay, so do you have all of this in your notes?
Yes.
Okay, so you written everything down already, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So the next part is self-actualization. Yeah. So self-actualization, explain it to me in one or two sentences.
It's basically achieving one's potential when you reach congruence.
Yes, yes, okay. So to rephrase that, it's a concept that refers to how a person can become the best possible version of themselves. Yeah. So meaning how they can achieve their unique potential. Yeah, because remember, every individual is unique and unique in their own way. That's unique. Yeah. So Rogers argues that people will always have a tendency to work towards being their ideal self. Yeah. But how do they do this? What do they need to do this to be able to do this?
Can you repeat the question again, please?
So people will always have a tendency to work towards being their ideal self, right? According to Rogers. So
Yes.
according to him, what do they need in order to do this? They need the help and support of others. Okay.
Yeah.
So when other people makes us feel good, this leads to an increase in self-esteem. Yeah. And because there's an increase in self-esteem, the gap is closed between who we perceive ourselves to be and our ideal self.
All right.
Therefore, when you make the gap smaller between ideal self and self-image, the closer we are to self-actualization.
Okay.
You understand? Yeah, you understand
Yes.
how everything is being linked?
Yes.
Okay. So Maslow, he developed what is called the
The the the it's like the triangle thing. It's
Yeah.
the needs.
hierarchy of needs.
Hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, we just call it the triangle thing. But remember, the proper term is the hierarchy of needs. Okay? So, do you have the triangle in your notes?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
I color coded it, so.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so do you have all of these in your notes already?
Yes. I have all these in my notes.
Okay, so because there are some things that we may be adding on to like our previous lessons and stuff, so I want to make sure that you have it, okay?
Yeah, I'm like jotting them down so that I can add them like
Okay.
properly like on my notes later.
Okay, very good. All right. So now we will look at an application question. Yeah. So I have sent it to you. Can you please jot it down and then write down your answer as well?
Okay.
All right.